Hello and welcome back to Rage Gaming and more Path of Exile 2. Today in our continued endgame journey, I want to cover a specific type of content that is indeed very easy to repeatedly run for great rewards, and that's the Trial of Sekhemas, aka Sanctum. This is a place where it also has a Pinnacle boss on the 4th level, where you likely got your 4th ascend points. The trial has a lot of value to it, from the relic drops that you can sell for good exalts or maybe even divines with the right ones, and it's a fantastic source of jewels for potential big wins there too. When you're running the level 80 version, there's also potential of high value drops you might just sell, and all of it costs essentially nothing because these coins to run them will set you back if you're buying them, you don't already have them. 1 exalt right now, so it's nothing at all. And then you've got massive hyper valuable uniques worth many divines and spectrum jewels and unique relics that could drop in here as well. So it's proven to be a reliable option if you are strong enough to run it and have a good understanding of what the options are and what you should be looking for. That's what this video is going to help you with. But before I get into it, I do want to mention a streamer, another creator called Empyrean Gaming, who posted a video about this topic about a week ago from his experience running this trial for profit. In that, he ran it for about 10 hours to my understanding, with an incredibly powerful build, even in that using a temporalis to essentially fly through the experience. In that, he shared his thoughts on the concept and a lot of the stuff that he learned. So that's a video I want to recommend to you guys if you're also interested in more details around this topic, because it's great hyper endgame related information to consider. Instead of that though, I want to use this video to give you guys more direct, usable advice to maximize profit from maybe more of a humble perspective. This character, after all, is my new ranger. I've been playing it for about a week now, and it's strong enough to run this content and farm it at a reasonable pace. So I think it should serve as a good base to compare. So let's get into it, starting with one of the biggest, most impactful tips I can give you for running these trials, and that is blink. So to quickly explain blink and its purpose and why it's so relevant in the trial in specific, is because it allows you to make those little jumps suddenly, and this can allow you to take, jumps over the chasms where you can't pass. This can be, say, during the escape trials where you're dealing with the crystals. It can let you bypass entire sections of that trial. In the puzzle areas, you've got walls, you've got mechanics from the puzzles, the traps. You can skip those entire sections, as well as going up to higher platforms and down to lower ones for basically super speedy movement throughout those trials, which I find particularly useful during the trial of time, where, you have a lot more weird platform stuff going on. So having blink in general is a really handy thing for getting around and, speeding up your efficiency. But in these trials, it's the layout, it's the map. It feels very good to have a blink on demand. To set up the blink, it's very simple. It's just a spirit skill gem, but it requires level 14 or higher because that's where you first get the skill. This means you need to be level 58 or higher, I assume you are, and you will need 133 intelligence to actually equip it. This could be an issue for you, but basically on my second weapon set that's running that, I've got a wand, I've got a focus. You could run intelligence on both these things, as you see that I do, and that can give you a massive boost to your intelligence, making it so even if you're not running intelligence, you should be able to run blink. So all I ever do really is press X to swap to my wand, and then I blink, and then I go back to my main weapon set. If you're not using a second weapon, why not have a wand and a focus with high intelligence so you can run blink? Alright, let's talk about what relics you should be using for maximum profit. Here's the setup that I'm running, but obviously I want to give you more advice. But basically, the number one goal is to find relics that have honor resistance on them. You want to reach the roughly 75% honor resistance cap. That is an assumed cap because our resistance is capped at 75% for everything else. So we assume the honor resistance is the same. But essentially, this is going to massively increase the amount of honor that you have, because when you get hit, you lose a lot less honor. So we see this as the bare minimum to function in this trial, 75% honor resistance. After that, you can think about anything else. So for maximum profit, we think the next thing that's most important is this, the affix that lets you see an additional room without actually having the boon. This means you could tank the negative affix, that means you see one less room, without it really affecting anything. But this is also a really useful thing in general. It's actually a boon in the run. After that, we strongly recommend as your third priority, the merchant has extra choices. This essentially means that you're going to be offered more boons when you find the merchant, and because of that, you'll be able to choose the best boons more likely because they'll actually be offered to you. On that note, we strongly recommend that you have a relic or multiple relics that reduce the merchant prices, which effectively means all your sacred water is worth more. Lastly, I actually don't have the third thing that I'd like to recommend because I can't fit it with the relics that I have right now, and it's to do with sacred water. There are two kinds that you want to think about. Gain sacred water when you complete a room, and this % chance for monsters to drop double sacred water. Now, this is RNG and it's a small %, so the more you have of this, the better, but it's hard to fit in. But between the two of them, gaining sacred water every time you complete a room stacks up over the course of a run, and I think is the more reliable option. But having at least one or maybe both of them would be helpful for profit. Since I can't fit it then, I go for something under that that's nice for completing the trial. Anything that's going to improve your success rate or the speed that you do it, like literal movement speed here, but also maximum honor will help protect your honor number. There are affixes that mean monsters and bosses take more damage, you deal more to them, or maybe even you take less damage from them. That is nice. But ultimately, I think as long as you can clear everything fine, even the Pinnacle boss, you don't need more damage. You can get boons for that in the run, but it's certainly nice to get if you can get it without sacrificing anything. I should also say in the relic altar, when you're putting these relics in, you will have locked slots the first time you look at it. By completing the trial multiple times, you unlock those slots, basically achieving this maximum space. So you'll need to have beaten the trial at least a couple times, and if you've got all your ascends unlocked, you should have already done that. In terms of when you're running this, what kind of relics should you be picking up and ignoring? Because man, do you get a lot of them during the run, and there's just not enough space. And there's also not like a merchant in each section or a checkpoint system. It's awkward as hell. So for the sake of sanity, I would recommend you probably ignore these massive ones that are 4 slots, whether they're long, horizontal or vertically, and just go for ones that are 2 slots, whether they're, horizontal or vertical. These have good potential on them, and you now know the relevant affixes from what you want to run that you can sell to other people for good value, such as the very special ones like an extra room is revealed, merchant choice increases. Those are really good. As we're beginning the trial, I want to tell you what you should actually be doing. Now, one thing I want to mention is the actual coins themselves. This one is area level 80. You need to make sure it obviously has 4 trials to have the Pinnacle boss, but the area level matters. If you didn't realize, only the first floor will be the area level. Then the next floor will be one above that, and so on and so on. So in the case of this level 81, the first level's 80, the next trial, the next level, that'll go to 81, the next one after that, 82, the final floor, the 4th one, will be 83. And this is important because when you're killing higher level enemies, just like mapping, their potential drops are better. So you're able to get more valuables because of it. Now we're about to talk about what you do when you're running the trial, and there's something I want to tell you about, which I think you know about. It is the all-important % increased rarity of items found. It was recently basically tested and covered that the stacking of this rarity to silly numbers isn't all that impactful. At roughly 100% rarity, you get the main benefits of what we want. So you at least try to aim for that, and then don't pull your hair out if you can't get more than that without sacrificing something. As a little tip, instead of hovering over your gear to try to work it out, you could just go to your skill page, pick an ability, and then scroll down, and at the bottom it says on kill effects. Slain monster item drop rarity modifier? A pathetic 36%. This doesn't actually count my charm, which is giving me an extra 20% by the way. But yeah, my rarity right now, very low because I've got this new character online recently, and it's something I'm thinking about fixing very soon. But yeah, quick way to check it. Also on that note, in the final room when you're about to open all the chests and hopefully get the most value, technically having higher rarity when you open these chests should be good. So because after you finish the Pinnacle boss, there's that room where you might have got your 4th ascend points, there's also a stash. So I don't know what's stopping us from opening that stash up, putting on a bunch of rarity gear to max it as high as we can get it, and then opening the chest, because obviously we don't need gear to kill anything here, and more rarity means maybe exalts will drop instead of something else, or even divines. So it's definitely something to try, but I can't say that it actually affects anything with any concrete evidence. Just something you absolutely can do, and why not, right? At least until they say otherwise. Next up, for tips as we're running them, did you know that you can leave this trial and return without messing up the run? It's something that is really irritating about this trial because, again, there's no proper merchant or system in place for while we're running it like a checkpoint system. And I really hope we get some sort of update that introduces some sort of quality of life to this trial in particular, because it's very annoying. But for now, we don't have it. So what you can do is use a portal to leave and go to town. This will bring you to the Act 2 hub. From here, do whatever you need to. Trade, sort your inventory, maybe respec because you're about to do the Pinnacle boss. Whatever it is you want to do, sort it, and then, instead of using the portal which doesn't work anymore for some reason, go to the waypoint. Use it to go back to the trial of Sekhemas, and it'll bring you to the opening room. go to the relic altar and interact with it where you put the coin in. And then you can click enter and it'll take you back to where you just left when you open the portal. So you can leave mid-run, go sort your drops or whatever it is you want to do and come back. It's just convoluted and annoying, but at least you can do it. Next up, it's time to talk about boons and what you want to get from maximum profit. We're going to put these into general tiers, starting with like the S tier. These are the most valuable things. For maximum profit, you want the more sacred water per room boon. This stacks, it compounds in value the sooner you get it in the run. Because at the end, you're going to turn all your sacred water into keys. And throughout the run, you're going to use a lot of sacred water to trade with the merchant to get the big power spikes. There's also another boon that's going to provide a lot of value, and it's the one that when you pick up a key, it just gives you another one. So, because of that boon, you might end up at the end with a load of gold keys to open all the most valuable like chests, which is obviously very important. So those are S tier profit ones. Let's talk about A tier. Anything to do with the merchant to get you those S tier boons is going to be helpful. So being able to get to the merchant right now or sooner, generating a load of water to spend on the merchant kind of cuts away at the RNG, especially if you have additional choices like a boon that allows the merchant to have additional choices, such as the one we have on the relic too. So those are really important for value and profit. Alongside that, I strongly recommend the one that gives you 40% movement speed. It lets you clear the whole thing faster and makes the final part with the Pinnacle boss and that time freeze mechanic also a lot easier to deal with. It's also very beneficial to see further on the map to be able to see what rewards and challenges you're going to deal with to plan profitable routes. Under that, in like a B tier, if we're going to call it that, I would take anything that makes the run easier, such as you now deal, 50% times more damage. It is insane. Or monsters have 30% less health. That's insane. But those aren't directly tied to profit. They just make the run faster and easier, so obviously very valuable. Under that, it's anything that's beneficial, but none of them are going to be nearly as impactful. Next, let's talk about the trial types and how these can be quite valuable. This is a lot less important than the other stuff, I think, because there's a lot of RNG involved. Maybe there's an awesome trial ahead of you that's great for profit, but it gives you a nasty affliction or something. It's a path you don't want to take. So obviously, you just choose the trial that's going to be the best for the run. But just be aware that the best trial to do generally is always going to be the chalice one. That's the one that has you go kill the rares. It's very quick, it takes very little time, and it means you're generating a load of rares to go kill for drops. Maybe exalts, maybe divines, maybe drops you can sell. Under that, we put the hourglass because it's basically a quick one that also spawns a bunch of rares. The more rares you kill, the more rares you get to kill, the shorter the trial. So obviously really nice for that. Under that, we have stuff like the ritual because it's super quick to just kill the skeleton summoners. That's really smooth, but the drops aren't amazing here. And then under that, you got like escape and gauntlet, the puzzle stuff. These don't really reward much, but at least they're very quick so you can get through. It's not like it's an issue. One final general tip then is that you can press V and that'll open up the trial run map while you're running the trial. You don't actually have to finish a trial and choose the next trial to see what's going on. You can always pull up the map by holding V and then maybe considering your choices if you forgot what they were. Alright, now let's get into the big deal. When you have beaten the Pinnacle boss and you're at the end, you now have all of your keys stacked up because this is where the most valuable things are. You want as many gold and silver keys as you can get for this final part because here you want to open a lot of chests for that purpose. The most important chest here is going to be the Grand Spectrum chest. It is a gold key only chest and it rewards unique Grand Spectrum jewels. These unique jewels are worth divines, and it varies depending on the type. I believe the sapphire is the most valuable, then emerald, then ruby. Personally, I had a ruby drop for me when I did my first 4th ascend on my mercenary. I was able to sell that for 1 divine. Because it's 2% increased max life for all of those types of Grand Spectrum jewels you have already equipped. Now we're getting later into the end game, more people have access to these things, and so that's become more valuable. Maybe if I held on to it, I would have been able to sell it for more divines, but you live and learn. After that, you're looking for royal and timeless chests that come in prime and gold ideally. These are going to be the most valuable jewels you're going to get outside of the Grand Spectrum chests. Timeless, I would probably recommend more out of the two of them because you can also get royal chests in silver chests, so silver keys will open those. Those are the most valuable chests to think about. After that, I'd look at mysterious chests because you can open that and get anything, including exalts and divines technically. And then there's also random currency, which will be the arcanist chests. After that, it's everything else. It doesn't really matter. Outside of the actual chest room, there is the Pinnacle boss. We have done guides on this topic before, so keeping it very simple, you kill this guy and he'll drop unique relics that could be valuable. He can also obviously drop just straight currency like divines, and has high potential drops in general. Quick tips for the fight though is to generally just smash him, stun him, whatever, but when he does the spin you can stand in a corner to outrange it if you need to. And remember that when you're running Blink, you're able to make use of that here when he does the time stop. Little blue icons that you need to pick all of them up before he just instantly kills you. But there you have it, that's my little overview of the Trial of Sekhemas, all the stuff you can do in Sanctum to make the experience better and more profitable. If you're able to run this, say, twice an hour, so 30-minute runs, achieving between 1 to 2 divines in value is not an unreasonable thing at all. And that's from a very tame, kind of humble perspective. You could run one of these and get one of those special jewels, the unique ones, and sell that from anywhere to 3 to 6 divines just like that on a single item. Divines can drop from the enemies, the Pinnacle boss, and of course the chest at the end as well. That's on top of all of the exalts, chaos orbs, val orbs, and the valuables you get from running it. Don't forget, if you're running this trial at level 80, very quickly you reach the higher levels of higher requirements like 81+, which is where the big value items will drop. You might get high tier items and just sell those for a pile of exalts. You could find something that's a really big win. There's just a lot of potential here just lying around, considering the fact that if you don't have any of these coins, you can buy them for 1 exalt. So if you have a strong enough build to take it down even like slowly in a humble way, I think this is a very valuable thing to be doing with your time. And what's nice about it compared to mapping is there isn't a lot of setup, a lot of planning, getting to the towers, setting up the towers, preparing like a pile of breaches to run. No doubt that's something incredibly valuable as another option, but this requires no investment, just have the coin and get in there. I hope these tips will help you with your experience though, and if you guys have anything you'd like to add, let us know in the comments. But for now, I've been Hollow, you've been you, thanks for watching, we'll see you next time.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.